Chapter 4078. Why don't you come with us? We can talk as we walk. The young man from the Battle Saint tribe spoke. Lu Ming fell silent for a moment before he nodded in agreement. From what the young man from the Battle Saint tribe said, there were many geniuses from the Heavenly Palace gathered in the eastern region. Maybe Ling Yue was there as well. In addition, Lu Ming was also very curious and wanted to clarify things. Lu Ming followed the 10+ people and headed east. On the way, the young man from the Battle Saint tribe also told Lu Ming everything. The demons and the geniuses from the Heavenly Palace all split up after they entered this temporary planet. After that, they went to various corners of the planet. At the start, it was very chaotic as they hunted each other. However, among these geniuses, there were both strong and weak ones. In the nearby vast region, a genius from the demons appeared. His strength was extremely shocking and he slaughtered the geniuses from the Heavenly Palace as if he was taking something out of his pocket. No one could defeat him. At the start, the Heavenly Palace lost a large number of geniuses. This genius from the demons was known as the king of this region. The king of geniuses in this region was Lofty and Lofty. At the end, an extremely terrifying demon-level genius from the Heavenly Palace also appeared and fought against the genius from the demons, ending in a draw. That demon-level genius from the Heavenly Palace was none other than a young genius from the Buddha race. From then on, the geniuses of the Heavenly Palaces in this region all gathered around the young genius from the Buddha race, with him as their leader. Because in this region, other than him, there was no one else who could contend against that devil genius. And the demons in this region naturally gathered around that terrifying devil as well. Just like this, the two kings of this region started to fight against each other. For the past few days, the two sides have been fighting each other almost every day. The two regional kings have also fought each other every day. For the past 6 days, the two regional kings have been fighting to a draw. As for the others, many of them have died. The young man from the Battle Saint tribe explained. Lu Ming thought of the many corpses he saw before. There were corpses from both the demons and the Heavenly Palace. Now that he thought about it, both sides must have gone through a great battle and suffered losses. How's the battle strength of the two regional kings? Lu Ming asked. He was more concerned about this. Those who could become regional kings were obviously at the pinnacle of the participants this time. Compared to such figures, one would know what level one was at among the participants this time. The Demon Clan and the Heavenly Palace's kings have the strength of the 5th godly emperor layer, but they're both peerless geniuses. Luo Tian from the Buddha clan is one of the candidates for the universe's young geniuses list. The young man from the Battle Saint tribe explained as reverence could be seen in his eyes. So this is the standard? A strange look appeared in Lu Ming's eyes. Was this the strength of a regional king? He had just killed a genius of this level not long ago. That single-horned demon youth was an existence of this level. It seems like my strength is at the peak of the participants this time around. Lu Ming heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. Not long after, Lu Ming and the others arrived at a strange area. This area was filled with protruding rocks that were incomparably sharp. They were like divine swords. On each protruding rock, there was a young man. Some of them were sitting cross-legged, while others were gazing into the distance. This was the place where the geniuses from the Heavenly Palace gathered. Lu Ming swept his gaze across and discovered that there were close to 100 geniuses from the Heavenly Palace gathered here. On the tallest rock over there is the peerless genius from the Buddha clan, Luo Tian. The young man from the Battle Saint tribe pointed at the tallest rock. Lu Ming looked over and indeed saw a young man sitting cross-legged on that rock. He was bald and his skin was golden. There was also a Buddhist halo above his head. This was a pure member of the Buddha clan. This was the peerless genius of the Buddha clan, Luo Tian. At this moment, Luo Tian's eyes were closed. He looked dignified and his entire body was enveloped in Buddhist light. He seemed to be circulating his energy and adjusting his breathing. Lu Ming took a few glances and then shifted his gaze away to look for Ling Yue. Unfortunately, Ling Yue was not among these people. Obviously, Ling Yue was not in this area. I hope nothing happens to her. Lu Ming sighed in his heart. Although he and Ling Yue knew each other and had an inexplicable engagement, the two of them had been together for so long and had experienced many things together. At this moment, Lu Ming could not help but worry about Ling Yue's safety. However, Ling Yue was very strong. Her cultivation was already at the peak of the 4th level of the God Emperor realm. She could break through to the 5th level of the God Emperor realm at any time. Moreover, Ling Yue's combat strength was extremely strong. After obtaining the opportunity from the Holy Seed Mother Tree, she had achieved a transformation. If they fought at the same level, ordinary candidates of the Universe Prodigy list would not be Ling Yue's match. As long as she did not encounter a regional king-level demon genius, Ling Yue should be able to protect herself. Lu Ming planned to hunt a wave of demons here. After all the demon geniuses in this area had gathered around the regional king. This saved him the trouble of searching. After chatting with the youth of the Battle Saint tribe for a while, Lu Ming flew and landed on an empty rock. He sat down cross-legged and waited. The demons are attacking. Lu Ming had not sat down for long when a loud roar suddenly sounded. Boom, boom, boom. The geniuses of the heavenly palace on the rock all stood up and released a powerful aura, preparing for a great battle. As expected, they are here. It's been 6 days. These demons want to fight with us. Today is the 7th day. They think we are afraid of them. Today we will kill them all. Kill all the demons. The geniuses of the heavenly palace roared, their battle intent high. They were afraid of the regional king, but the regional king was blocked by Luo Tian, so they were not afraid. Lu Ming stood on a rock and looked into the distance. In the distance, a large group of demons flew over. These demons spread their wings, and their baleful auras soared into the sky. Their roars were like thunder as they rushed over. Kill all the bastards of the heavenly palace. The demon geniuses roared. Among them, one of the demons attracted Lu Ming's attention. This abyssal was covered in green scales, but his right arm was fiery red. There were sinister bone spikes on his arm. Luo Tian, come out and fight. Today I will kill you. The red demon on his right arm roared, his killing intent surging. This was the regional king of the demons. His name was Sa Dao. Amitba. Since Benefactor wants to go on your way, this poor monk will fulfill your wish. Luo Tian stepped on the air, and the Buddhist light became even stronger. With every step he took, a golden lotus would appear under his feet. His speed was very fast, and in a few steps he was close to Sa Dao. A Buddhist chant rang out, and a huge golden Buddha statue appeared in the sky. It slammed its palm down on Sa Dao. Chapter 4079. The Buddha statue was tens of thousands of zhang tall. Its golden hand looked like a small mountain as it moved towards Sa Dao. That move again? Can't you do something else? Sa Dao smiled ferociously and rose up in the air. His red right arm punched the air. Boom! An earth-shattering sound spread in the air. The golden hand exploded. Not only that, but the gigantic Buddha statue also exploded and turned into energy. Swoosh! Sa Dao's demonic wings flapped, and he charged at Luo Tian like a bolt of lightning. His right arm became even redder, and flames spread out, making his entire arm look like it was made of lava. Luo Tian's third eye was shining. A golden light appeared. It was a pure Buddhist light. It was Luo Tian's original secret skill. Luo Tian's original secret skill had already severed 6 shackles. That was terrifying. Very few cultivators of the 5th godly emperor layer could sever 6 shackles. The shackles of an original secret skill were extremely difficult to sever. Each shackle was like an insurmountable chasm. However, each time one was severed, one's strength would increase tremendously. Usually, only godly emperors could sever all 9 shackles of an original secret skill. Pure Buddhist lights surrounded Luo Tian's hands. Luo Tian jumped forwards and punched the air. Boom! Luo Tian's hand collided with Sa Dao's right arm. It looked like 2 planets had collided. Red and golden lights filled the sky. Rings after rings of terrifying energy rushed out in all directions like waves of water. No one dared to stand still in the surroundings. The 2 of them collided and their silhouettes flickered. They were evenly matched. Then, the two men's second move collided. Boom boom boom. Both of them were extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, they had already exchanged a dozen attacks. It was obvious that they were evenly matched. It was difficult to determine the winner in a short time. Lu Ming glanced at them and understood what was going on. It was similar to what the young man of the Battle Saint tribe had said. Both of them had the strength of the 5th godly emperor layer, but their fighting prowess was comparable to that of the 9th godly emperor layer. However, that was it. It was about the same as the horned demon that Lu Ming had killed before. Kill. At this time, the demons and the other people of the heavenly palace were also fighting. In an instant, blood spurted out and screams were heard. Some people had already fallen. Die, brat. An ugly demonic youth brandishing a demonic saber fixed his eyes on Lu Ming and charged towards Lu Ming. That ugly demon had the strength of the 4th godly emperor layer. To be honest, for a cultivator who was less than 50,000 years old, that was already very good. Without a doubt, this ugly demon was also a monstrous figure. However, in Lu Ming's eyes, it was really not enough. Lu Ming used the great devil sword art. Sword light flashed, and that devil genius was cut in two. Lu Ming's figure flashed, and that ugly devil's spirit blood was caught by Lu Ming. Lu Ming took that drop of demon's spirit blood and continued to kill the other demons. The result was already decided. None of those demons could withstand one attack from Lu Ming. His demonic sword swept through the air, and Lu Ming killed a demon with each slash. He's that strong. The other heavenly palace's young geniuses couldn't help but open their eyes wide in disbelief. When they had seen Lu Ming before, they hadn't paid much attention to him. They had thought that Lu Ming was just an ordinary young genius. They had never thought that Lu Ming would be so strong. He could kill those demons as easily as cutting vegetables. He was a peerless, monstrous cultivator. The other demons were even more terrified. They didn't dare fight against Lu Ming. When they saw Lu Ming, they all retreated. This scene also attracted the attention of the two kings of the other two regions. But little brat, wait until I get rid of that bald guy, then I'll kill you. Sa Dao shouted angrily. His eyes were as sharp as knives. He couldn't wait to cut Lu Ming into pieces. Your opponent is me. Buddha's light illumination. Luo Tian shouted. The Buddhist light that filled the sky turned into different weapons and smashed down on Sa Dao from all directions. Luo Tian was delighted to see Lu Ming's strength. As long as Lu Ming got rid of the other demons, the Heavenly Palace's young geniuses would be able to attack Sa Dao together. They might be able to kill Sa Dao in one blow. He was very surprised by Lu Ming's behavior. Do you think I have nothing better to do than challenge you every day? 7 days are up. 7 deadly fire poison, explode. Sa Dao attacked a few times. Then, his right arm shook violently. A mysterious force spread out. At that moment, Luo Tian's body shook violently. Then, red lines appeared on Luo Tian's body. A disgusting smell was emitted from his body. Luo Tian spat out a mouthful of blood. His aura weakened rapidly. Poison! When did you poison me? Luo Tian shouted in shock. He kept releasing Buddha's light in an attempt to purify the poison. However, it was useless. The effect was minimal. With your strength, it's difficult to use a poison to kill you. My poison didn't have any signs. During the fight, it seeped into your body bit by bit. I have fought you every day for the past 7 days. After 7 days, the 7 deadly fire poison has finally succeeded. Sa Dao sneered. Luo Tian's face was pale. He finally understood why Sa Dao had challenged him every day for the past 7 days. Initially, he didn't think too much about it. After all, they were mortal enemies. It was normal for demons to challenge them every day. Who would have thought that Sabeo would secretly poison him when they were fighting? Moreover, this poison needed 7 days to take effect. Die. Sa Dao's eyes were ferocious. He punched Luo Tian's chest. Luo Tian screamed in pain. His body flew out and broke dozens of huge rocks. Luo Tian was still alive. He had the physical body of a pure Buddha and was known to be immortal. Even so, Luo Tian was severely injured. His chest was almost pierced through. His heart was crushed. His aura was extremely weak. What's going on? At that moment, the elites of the heavenly palace turned pale. Luo Tian and Sa Dao were locked in a fight. However, he had been defeated in an instant. All of this happened too suddenly. Most importantly, now that Luo Tian had been defeated, who else could compete with Sa Dao? Although Mu Yun was strong, his combat strength was still lacking compared to regional kings like Sa Dao and Luo Tian. It's over. The elites of the heavenly palace felt a chill down their spines. They didn't expect the situation to change so quickly. Great. Great. In contrast to the people of the heavenly palace, the remaining elites of the evil demons were ecstatic. Baldi, I won't kill you for now. I want to show you how I'm going to kill all the people of the heavenly palace. Sa Dao said coldly. Then, his figure flashed and rushed toward Lu Ming. Chapter 4080. Sa Dao threw himself at Lu Ming. His right arm was as red as fire, as if it was made of lava. He hadn't even arrived yet, but his qi was already moving towards Lu Ming. Even ordinary cultivators of the 8th godly emperor layer wouldn't be able to withstand that qi. However, Lu Ming's expression remained calm. There was even a hint of anticipation. This was because another drop of evil demon spirit blood was about to be obtained. Die! When Sa Dao saw that Lu Ming wasn't dodging, he looked ferocious. His right arm was red as he threw a punch at Lu Ming. In the process of punching out, his fist actually grew rapidly. It was like a small mountain as it blasted toward Lu Ming. The terrifying aura made the other elites of the heavenly palace turn pale with fright. Mu Yun, move back! Shouted someone furiously. The rest of the people sighed in their hearts. They felt that Lu Ming would be seriously injured even if he did not die from this punch. Many people started getting ready to run away. At that moment, Lu Ming also threw a punch. His fist was no different from an ordinary fist, except that it was emitting a dazzling light. Boom! Their fists heavily collided. In an instant, the void shook violently. Rings of energy ripples swept out in all directions. What happened next was beyond everybody's expectations. Lu Ming was standing in the sky, motionless. He was as steady as a mountain. Everybody thought that Lu Ming would be blown away, or even explode, but that didn't happen. Lu Ming did not move at all. On the contrary, Sa Dao trembled and retreated a few steps. How? How is that possible? Everybody's eyes were wide open, including Luo Tian, who was seriously injured. Lu Ming had surprisingly pushed Sa Dao back with one punch. Even Luo Tian hadn't been able to do that. How strong? Prince Yuanwen said that Mu Yun wasn't weaker than him at the same level. It seems like it's true. Mu Yun has the strength of the 4th godly emperor layer. He's 5 levels stronger than him. The thoughts of the young man from the Battle Saint tribe spun rapidly as a look of admiration appeared on his face. Brat! Sa Dao himself was also very shocked. Lu Ming's cultivation was 1 level lower than his, but when they had exchanged blows just now, he had felt that Lu Ming's strength was simply endless, filled with an aura of destruction. His arm went numb, as if it was about to shatter. Your strength is only SOSO. Now, it's my turn, Lu Ming said indifferently. All the cells in his body trembled, and his body emitted a dazzling glow. This was the manifestation of his strength being stimulated to the peak. With a swoosh, Lu Ming's figure disappeared from the spot. The next moment, he appeared in front of Sa Dao and punched out continuously. Boom, 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 the void shook violently. Dozens of fist forces pressed down on Sa Dao like toppling mountains and overturning seas. The terrifying aura caused Sa Dao's muscles to tense up. A chill rose from the bottom of his heart. He actually felt his scalp go numb. I don't believe that even if he can fight someone 5 levels stronger than him, he won't be able to suppress me. Explode! Sa Dao roared. His fiery red right arm became even thicker. Mysterious runes appeared on it, and the aura it emitted was even more terrifying. At the same time, he punched out with his right arm, and in an instant, he punched out dozens of times, colliding with Lu Ming's punches. A series of explosions resounded, dazzling the eyes and deafening the ears. The other demons and the geniuses of the heavenly palace couldn't see the battle clearly. Who would win? Everyone's heart was pounding because the outcome of the battle would determine the life and death of both sides. But in the next moment, they knew the answer. In the midst of the explosions, a silhouette was pushed back, smashing a few huge rocks. It was Dao. He was now in a very miserable state. There were several fist marks on his body, especially his fiery red arm, which was covered in cracks. Dao spat out mouthfuls of blood, and his chi was extremely weak. He looked at Lu Ming with fear in his eyes. Then he turned around and ran away, not daring to fight again. However, he had been severely injured by Lu Ming in the process of fighting with Lu Ming. Even his strongest right arm was almost broken, and he couldn't exert any strength at all. How could he get away from Lu Ming? Lu Ming was wrapped in the divine wind, and in a few flashes, he caught up with Dao. "Let's die together." Seeing that he couldn't escape, Dao went crazy. His arm, which was full of cracks, emitted a dazzling red light, and a terrifying chi was released, like a volcano that was about to erupt. Dao was going to self-destruct his red right arm. This red right arm was the foundation of Dao's survival. He was born with it, and after some cultivation, its power was boundless, just like the horn of the horned demon from before. This kind of innate power was extraordinary. Once it self-destructed, the power would be earth-shattering. Dao knew that he couldn't escape, so he planned to self-destruct his right arm and die with Lu Ming. But how could Lu Ming let him do as he wished? Great binding art. Lu Ming shouted softly and pressed with both hands. An invisible force suddenly appeared around Dao. This force was like a python, tightly binding Dao. At the same time, there were sharp thorns on this python that pierced into Dao's body, trying to bind his physical body and demonic aura. 3,000 ancient secret techniques, great binding art. This was something that Lu Ming had exchanged for from the Merit Exchange Hall. In the Blessings Tower, he had already cultivated it to the greater success stage and had yet to use it in a battle. It was just right to use it now. After being hit by the great binding art, Dao's body suddenly stiffened. "Kill!" A cold voice sounded. Lu Ming's body flashed, and a demonic sword soared into the sky, disappearing in a flash. Then, Dao's head flew high into the sky. Another demon prodigy comparable to a candidate on the universe prodigy list was killed by Lu Ming. With a grab of his palm, Lu Ming grabbed Dao's demon spirit blood in his hand. Dao's demon spirit blood was also extraordinary. It wasn't any weaker than the demon spirit blood of the horned demon youth. Lu Ming took out a new jade bottle and stored this drop of demon spirit blood. That's it. The surrounding people were still in a daze. This demon prodigy who had fought with Luo Tian for 7 days and defeated Luo Tian with poison had been killed so easily. They felt like they were in a dream. "Let's go!" The remaining demons roared and turned to escape. At this time, the prodigies from the heavenly palace woke up. "Don't let them escape." Kill. The prodigies from the heavenly palace roared and charged towards the demon prodigies. Naturally, they wouldn't let go of a chance to beat a drowning dog. Lu Ming also rushed out to hunt the demons. Chapter 4081. Lu Ming had already killed some of the demons, so there weren't many left. Now that they were being chased by Lu Ming and the geniuses of the heavenly palace, the outcome of these demons was already destined. Not a single one of the remaining demons managed to escape. In the end, they all died at the hands of Lu Ming and the others. More than half of them died at the hands of Lu Ming. There was no other way. Lu Ming's speed was too fast, and his battle strength was too strong. The demons were no match for him, so of course they would be killed quickly. All the geniuses of the heavenly palace revealed smiles on their faces. This battle could be said to be a complete victory. Nearly 100 demons had been killed here. One had to know that the total number of demons participating in the battle was only about 4,000. Now that over 100 of them had been killed in an instant, this was an important victory, especially since there was a top monster like Dao among them. This battle could even affect the overall situation. In this competition, they and the demons would not rest until one of them was dead. It was either you die or I die. They were naturally happy to be able to kill so many demons in one go. These people expressed their gratitude to Lu Ming. Luo Tian also flew over, barely stabilizing his injuries, and thanked Lu Ming. You're welcome. This time, our common enemy is the demons. When I see the demons, I naturally have to take action. Lu Ming said with a smile. Right. With that, Lu Ming's tone changed. Then he waved his hand and used the taboo power to carve a strange pattern in the air. This pattern was the pattern that he and Ling Yue had agreed on. Furthermore, the patterns on the two of them were different. This was to make it easier to identify them. According to this pattern, they knew the other party's movements. Everyone, I would like to ask, have you seen this pattern in the vicinity? Lu Ming asked. Everyone looked carefully and many shook their heads. I've seen this pattern before. It was carved on some rocks. Luo Tian looked at it and nodded. Lu Ming was overjoyed and said, Master Luotan, where have you seen this pattern? It's in the west, about 500,000 li away from here. It's in a stretch of protruding rocks. Luo Tian explained the location in detail. Lu Ming noted it down carefully. After that, he bid farewell and prepared to leave. Anyway, almost all the demons in this area had been killed. The people in the heavenly palace were not in danger for the time being, so there was no need for him to stay. Luo Tian and the others immediately urged Lu Ming to stay. They wanted to move together with him, but Lu Ming refused. Among these people, only Luo Tian's strength was not bad and could be of help to him. The rest of them were too ordinary, and Lu Ming did not want to bring a bunch of burdens with him. It was easier for him to act alone. After bidding farewell, Lu Ming headed west alone. On this temporary planet, their speed was greatly suppressed. A distance of more than 500,000 kilometers could be covered in the blink of an eye in the primitive universe, but here, it would still take some time. A day later, Lu Ming finally arrived at this area and saw a large number of protruding rocks. Lu Ming spread out his spirit sense and began to search. Not long after, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. His figure flashed and appeared above a rock. There was a pattern on this rock. That's right, this was indeed carved by Ling Yue. Others couldn't understand it and only thought that it was a simple pattern, but Lu Ming could see where Ling Yue was going. After taking a look at the pattern, Lu Ming's figure flashed and he continued to head west. After a period of time, Lu Ming saw another pattern. After identifying it, Lu Ming continued forward. Just like that, 3 days passed. In these 3 days, Lu Ming would occasionally meet the geniuses of the heavenly palace or the demons, but the further he went, the fewer geniuses of the heavenly palace or the demons he met. In the last day, he didn't meet a single genius of the heavenly palace or the demons. What's going on? Could it be that the geniuses of the heavenly palace and the demons in this area have all left? Lu Ming frowned as he pondered. Moreover, the pattern left behind by Ling Yue had been broken since half a day ago. It was inexplicably cut off. He searched for a long time, but still couldn't find the next pattern. What's going on? Did Ling Yue suddenly encounter danger? Lu Ming revealed a trace of worry. This could only be the case. Otherwise, she would definitely continue to carve the pattern. Only when she suddenly encountered danger and didn't have time to carve the pattern would the pattern be broken. Moreover, in this area, Lu Ming didn't meet a single heavenly palace or demon, which was even more strange. Lu Ming pondered for a moment and continued to search towards the west. Just as Lu Ming passed by a canyon, suddenly, there was a burst of demonic qi in the canyon. Figures rushed out of the canyon and surrounded Lu Ming in the blink of an eye. It was the demons. There were more than a dozen demons, all staring at Lu Ming ferociously. It's the people of the heavenly palace. There are indeed fish that escaped the net. A boy of the 4th godly emperor layer. Not bad, he can be considered a big fish. Kill him first. More than a dozen demons roared, and then rushed towards Lu Ming together. These demons were quite strong, and there was even a 5th godly emperor layer demon genius among them. However, there was no one like Sa Dao, so Lu Ming didn't care at all. Just in time. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with cold light, and the great godly wind technique and the great demon sword technique were used together. Suddenly, sword chi rushed forward, and blood spurted out, and one demon after another was killed. No matter what cultivation level in the hands of Lu Ming, the end was the same, that was, killed by a sword. Run! This guy is too terrifying, he deserves to die. The remaining demons were terrified and turned around, wanting to run away. But how could Lu Ming let them run away? After a few seconds, the 3 demons collapsed on the ground, severely injured. As for the other demons, they had been killed by Lu Ming. Let me ask you, what's going on with this area? Why don't I see the people of the Heavenly Palace? Lu Ming asked coldly. If you want to kill us, then kill us. Don't think you can get any information from us, shouted a demon furiously. Is that so? Then I'll send you on your way, said Lu Ming coldly. He flicked his finger and a beam of strength shot out and pierced through the demon's third eye, killing him instantly. Now, which one of you will tell me? Asked Lu Ming. If you want to kill us, then kill us. If we tell you, we'll die anyway. Indeed. Even though the 2 demons were terrified, they still shook their heads resolutely. They knew very well in their hearts that this competition between the Heavenly Palace and the Abyss Devils was nothing more than a fight to the death. Only when one side was completely defeated would it end. As for 80% of the people surrendering, that was almost impossible. If they surrendered and left, the Demon King wouldn't let them off. Therefore, they knew that even if they told him, Lu Ming wouldn't let them off. Chapter 4082. The 2 evil demons were very stubborn and would rather die than say anything. In the end, Lu Ming had no choice but to kill the 2 evil demons and take away their evil demon spirit blood. However, Lu Ming was even more certain that something must have happened in this area. Lu Ming was just about to leave, but he immediately stopped. This was because he suddenly felt a terrifying sense of danger coming from all directions. Yes, it was coming from all directions. He actually couldn't determine where this sense of danger was coming from. This sense of crisis made the muscles all over Lu Ming's body tense up and the hair all over his body stood on end automatically. It was definitely a terrifying enemy that could make him feel this way. A terrifying enemy had appeared in the vicinity. Where is it? Lu Ming's mind was highly focused and his spiritual sense spread out in a large area, watching all the slight movements in the surroundings. Rumble. Suddenly, Lu Ming's ears twitched. He heard a rumbling sound. Although it was very subtle, his spiritual senses were very sharp. Moreover, he had cultivated more than 10 kinds of secret skills related to his ears. Therefore, he was able to accurately capture the sound. Underground. Swish. Without hesitation, Lu Ming's figure rushed into the sky. The moment Lu Ming rushed up, a demon claw grabbed out from the ground. Gravel splashed as the demon claw grabbed at Lu Ming. However, it was a step too late. The demon claw grabbed Lu Ming's feet, bringing a terrible gust of wind. Your reaction is quite fast, but do you think you can escape from my hands? A cruel and tyrannical voice sounded. Then, the ground exploded with a bang. A tall demon figure rushed out from the ground. Lu Ming looked down and swept his gaze over. His pupils shrank slightly. This was an evil demon. However, this evil demon was very different from the ones Lu Ming had encountered before. This evil demon was extremely tall and burly, at least 10 meters tall. His entire body was filled with bulging muscles and bone spurs protruded from his body. His pair of demon claws were huge and ferocious, and his nails were as sharp as knives. Bam! The demon stomped his feet on the ground and his burly body soared into the sky, bringing along a violent force. His speed was so fast that it was shocking. In the blink of an eye, he appeared above Lu Ming's head and stomped down on Lu Ming. That kind of speed was as fast as teleportation. Boom! In an instant, Lu Ming had already activated the battle essence, which increased his combat power by 6 times. He activated the Great Divine Wind technique and the Great Shattering technique and blasted an upward punch. His fist collided with the foot of the burly demon. What a terrifying strength! At the moment of collision, Lu Ming felt his whole body tremble. It was as if he had been hit by a huge high-level planet. His body was like a cannonball, falling toward the ground. There was a loud bang and Lu Ming's body landed heavily on the ground, creating a huge pit. Lu Ming spat out a mouthful of blood, feeling numb all over. He has the strength of the 6th godly emperor layer. He can fight cultivators 4 levels higher than him. That's what Lu Ming thought. Yes, the demon was astonishingly powerful. His cultivation level was too high. He had reached the 6th godly emperor layer. His combat capability was 4 levels higher than Lu Ming's. His combat capability was much higher than Lu Ming's. Not bad, not bad. You received one of my attacks and didn't die. It seems like you're one of the strongest cultivators in the Heavenly Palace. Very good. Killing you will be a great loss for the Heavenly Palace," said the burly evil demon ferociously. He flapped his wings and turned into a gust of wind. He then charged towards Lu Ming. His gigantic demon claws tore through the air and moved towards Lu Ming. Fast, just as fast. Lu Ming shouted. All his cells shook at the same time. He used all his secret techniques. They turned into dazzling lights. Lu Ming looked like a celestial being. Boom! Lu Ming used all his strength and threw a punch. That punch collided with the burly evil demon's claws. There was an earth-shattering roar. Lu Ming's body shook violently. Once again his body was like a meteorite, crashing toward the ground. Lu Ming's feet landed on the ground and his entire body bent down. However, he did not dare to stop. He exerted force in his legs and his body moved sideways. Boom! The burly evil demon landed on the place where Lu Ming had been a moment before. That evil demon's feet were also covered with sharp claws and bones. They were terrifyingly strong. A gigantic crater appeared in the ground. Violent energy swept out. Lu Ming had to strike with his palm to break the energy. "You're strong, but not enough," shouted the burly evil demon. He flapped his gigantic wings and charged towards Lu Ming. His claws kept clawing at Lu Ming. Lu Ming used all his strength to resist. Both of his fists were constantly bombarded. Every punch was filled with his strength. At the same time, the great evil sword art was also activated. It turned into evil swords and slashed towards the opponent. Both of them attacked at a very fast speed. Both of them were terrifyingly strong. However, even if Lu Ming pushed his battle strength to the peak, he was still not the opponent of this evil demon. Lu Ming pushed his battle strength to the peak, but he could only kill an opponent who was 5.5 levels higher than him. He was still half a level lower than the opponent. In the Divine Emperor realm, half a level difference was enough to crush the opponent. Just like how Lu Ming dealt with the one-horned evil demon and Sa Dao. It wouldn't be too difficult for this evil demon to deal with Lu Ming. In an instant, both of them exchanged more than 10 moves. Lu Ming's body was still caught by the evil demon's claws. A large piece of flesh was torn off. The violent chi blasted Lu Ming thousands of miles away. God knows how many huge rocks were smashed. Lu Ming vomited a mouthful of blood. His body was almost torn into two. The potential in each of his cells was crazily stimulated. It constantly emerged and turned into Lu Ming's strength. His body was recovering rapidly. If it wasn't for his tenacious vitality, that move would have taken away half of his life. The burly evil demon attacked again. Obviously, he didn't want to give Lu Ming a chance to breathe. In fact, he was also unable to calm down. Lu Ming's battle strength had shocked him. If Lu Ming broke through another level, the one who would be crushed would not be Lu Ming, but him. Therefore, he wanted to kill Lu Ming in one go. Come on, come on. Lu Ming's eyes revealed a crazed look. He didn't retreat and counterattacked. He rushed towards the burly evil demon. Great Binding Art. Lu Ming used the Great Binding Art. An invisible force entangled the burly evil demon like a python. Sharp thorn-like chi pierced the evil demon's body. It wanted to bind his body and evil demon chi. Open for me. The burly abyss devil laughed wildly. His originally burly body became even more burly. With a boom, the invisible force that wrapped around his body was directly pushed away. Chapter 4083. The strength of the burly demon was very amazing. He actually forcibly broke free from the shackles of the Great Binding Technique. His huge demon claws continuously grabbed at Lu Ming. After Lu Ming used the Great Binding Technique, he mobilized all his strength and launched his strongest attack, which just happened to collide with the demon claws of the burly demon. Continuous roars sounded, and the two exchanged more than 10 moves in an instant. Lu Ming felt his arms go numb, and his bones groaned as he was unable to support himself. His figure retreated again. In the end, there was still a big gap in strength. Even with the great binding technique, it was difficult to make up for it. Although the great binding technique was mysterious, it also needed the support of cultivation. His cultivation was still a little low, and it was difficult to exert the full power of the great binding technique. He could not trap the burly demon. What other moves do you have? Use them all. I will let you feel despair. The burly demon's eyes became even more ferocious. His figure did not stop. When Lu Ming retreated, he continued to attack Lu Ming. His sharp demon claws grabbed at Lu Ming's head. Lu Ming waved his fist to block, but the burly demon's other demon claw changed direction and grabbed at Lu Ming from below. Lu Ming was caught again. 3 ribs flew out, and his flesh and blood splattered. His injury was even more serious. Fortunately, this was Lu Ming. If it had been someone else, they would have been killed under the circumstances where there was such a huge difference in their abilities. Just like the horned demon and saber before, when facing Lu Ming, they did not last long and were killed by Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming's vitality was too tenacious. After resisting so many moves, he was still not killed. Go! The moment Lu Ming retreated, the Great God Wind technique was fully operated. His figure was like a bolt of lightning, and he retreated. He understood that he was not the opponent's opponent. If he continued to fight, there was no chance of winning. Why should he continue to fight? Want to escape? In my hands, this is wishful thinking. The burly demon sneered. His demon wings flapped rapidly. His body was more than 10 meters tall, but his speed was astonishing. After Lu Ming was injured, his speed was not as fast as the burly demon. The distance between the two sides was closing again. Die! The burly demon launched a storm-like attack. His demon claws clawed out dozens of times in an instant, leaving claw marks everywhere in the air. But at this moment, there was a violent sound from Lu Ming's side. Then, an emerald green arrow suddenly appeared and shot at the burly demon's forehead. Fast, astonishingly fast, and the power was also astonishingly strong. In the face of this arrow, even the burly demon didn't dare to be careless. A sense of crisis arose in his heart. He had no choice but to stop attacking Lu Ming. His demonic claws suddenly grabbed backward. Clang! The sharp demonic claws grabbed the emerald green arrow, causing the sound of metal clashing and sparks to fly in all directions. The emerald green arrow kept shaking and finally collapsed. However, the burly demon's attack was also blocked. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Lu Ming quickly distanced himself from the burly demon. Mu Yun, follow me. Not far away, a graceful figure appeared. If it wasn't Ling Yue, who could it be? Lu Ming was incomparably surprised. He didn't expect that Ling Yue would suddenly appear when he couldn't find her after spending so much effort. Moreover, he discovered that Ling Yue's cultivation had broken through. Before entering this temporary planet, Ling Yue's battle strength was at the peak of the 4th layer of the God Emperor realm. Now, Ling Yue had reached the 5th layer of the God Emperor realm. After Ling Yue obtained the opportunity of the Holy Seed Mother Tree, she completed the transformation. Her talent and battle strength had both increased by a lot. In a battle of the same level, Ling Yue's battle strength was stronger than the ordinary candidates of the Universe Prodigy list. Lu Ming estimated that if Ling Yue went all out, she could fight across 4.5 levels. The full strength of Ling Yue, who was at the 5th layer of the God Emperor realm, was not weaker than his full strength. That was why the arrow just now had forced the burly demon to block it. If it was before she broke through, it would definitely be impossible. At this moment, there was no time to think. Lu Ming's figure flashed as he rushed towards Ling Yue. Follow me, Ling Yue said as she brought Lu Ming and rushed in a certain direction. You want to leave? Both of you, stay behind. The burly 10,000 devils roared and chased after Lu Ming and Ling Yue. The burly demon's speed was extremely fast, quickly closing the distance between him and Lu Ming and the others. Swoosh! When the distance between the two sides was about to close, Ling Yue turned around and shot an arrow. What she was using now was naturally not the Elven King bow that was stained with blood, because it was suppressed here and could not be used. What she was using was her Origin's secret technique. The arrow pierced through the air like a ray of light, shooting towards the burly demon's forehead. Facing Ling Yue's attack, the burly demon had no choice but to block it. Although Ling Yue's battle prowess was still lacking compared to his, he couldn't directly ignore it. He waved his hand to block, blocking Ling Yue's arrow. However, his figure was still blocked for a moment and his speed slowed down. As for Lu Ming and Ling Yue, they took the opportunity to open up a distance between them. As for Lu Ming, he took the opportunity to recover with all his might. Every cell in his body was trembling slightly. The potential in every cell was constantly gushing out, repairing his injuries. His body, which had been badly damaged, was recovering at a speed visible to the naked eye. Even the burly Abyss Demon was shocked. This monster, the burly Abyss Demon, roared in his heart and became even more determined to kill Lu Ming. He chased after Lu Ming and Ling Yue even more crazily, but when the distance between them closed again, Ling Yue turned around and shot another arrow. The path of archery was best at long-range attacks. If it was anyone else, at such a distance, the power of their attacks would definitely be greatly weakened. However, Ling Yue's arrows were able to maintain their peak power. This was the advantage of a long-range attacker. After being blocked by Ling Yue's arrow, Lu Ming and Ling Yue took the opportunity to widen the distance between them. Just like this, they flew for a long distance, one chasing the other. After a period of time, Lu Ming's injuries were much better, and he wasn't far from returning to his peak state. At this moment, a forest appeared in front of them. Yes, it really was a forest. Lu Ming was extremely surprised. This was because this temporary planet was created by the master-level experts on both sides who had temporarily grabbed the rocks on the ground of the Dark Universe to refine it. This place was filled with bare rocks. How could there be a forest? Previously, Lu Ming hadn't seen a single blade of grass. Enter the forest. When Ling Yue saw the forest, her eyes lit up and she sent a sound transmission to Lu Ming. Lu Ming did not doubt him. Together with Ling Yue, he rushed into the forest. Just as they rushed into the forest, the burly Abyss Demon also rushed into the forest. However, when the burly Abyss Demon rushed into the forest, there were no traces of Lu Ming and Ling Yue. Instead, the trees in all directions came to life and charged towards the burly Abyss Demon. Chapter 4084. All the plants in the forest seemed to have come alive. They turned into terrifying monsters and charged towards the tall and sturdy demon. Illusory realm break. The tall and sturdy demon roared and clawed at the trees, causing them to explode. An illusion array, break. Don't even think about trapping me. Break, 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 break. The tall and sturdy demon roared crazily, as if he had turned into a wild beast. Wherever he went, rocks would fly and huge craters would appear on the ground. At that moment, Lu Ming and Ling Yue had already left the forest and appeared on the other side. They weren't affected by the illusion array at all. Lu Ming was astonished. This illusion array was set up by an expert from the Heavenly Palace. It won't be able to stop that demon for long. Let's hurry up and leave this place. Come with me. Ling Yue hurriedly explained and then flew in a certain direction. Lu Ming followed closely behind. Not long after, they appeared hundreds of thousands of li away and arrived at a secret place. At that moment, the two of them heaved a sigh of relief. At that moment, Lu Ming's injuries were almost healed. He couldn't see the slightest wound on his body anymore. Besides, he realized that his cultivation level had increased by a lot. The battle with the tall and sturdy demon before had been very dangerous. Lu Ming had been seriously injured. His life had been threatened, and his potential had been stimulated. The potential in his cells had been stimulated unceasingly. Now, his cultivation level had taken a huge step forward. He wasn't too far away from the 5th Godly Emperor layer. Even though this battle had been difficult, he had also gained a lot. If he had cultivated step by step, he didn't know how long it would have taken him to obtain these gains. Why are you here? Also, What's going on in this area? Why haven't I met anyone from the heavenly palace? Only demons. Immediately, Lu Ming asked curiously. He had a lot of questions in his heart. This time, I came out to investigate the movements of the demons. I didn't expect that I would run into you being chased by Luoshi. Luoshi is the name of that demon just now. As for this area, the situation is very bad. Not only this area, but the situation in a large number of nearby areas is very bad because there is an extremely terrifying monster on the demon's side. Ling Yuwei explained. She seemed to have thought of something and her expression was very serious. An extremely terrifying demon, even more powerful than that Luoshi? Lu Ming asked. Indeed, he's not just a little bit stronger, he's much stronger. That demon has the strength of the 6th godly emperor layer, and he's also a cultivator of the 5th godly emperor layer. He can defeat cultivators who are 5 levels stronger than him. Ling Yuwei said. What? Lu Ming's expression also changed greatly. A cultivator of the 6th godly emperor layer could fight cultivators who were 5 cultivation layers higher than him. That was terrifying. Luoshi could easily kill such a cultivator. Who would have thought that there would be such a terrifying existence among the demons? This abyssal should be the strongest of the chosen abyssal geniuses that participated in this war. During this period of time, he has swept through a large area. A massive number of chosen from the heavenly palace have died at his hands. There is simply no way for them to contend with him. The other demons gathered around him. With him as the core, they swept through a large area. That Luoshi is one of the strongest helpers of that demon. Ling Yuwei said. Does that mean that in this large area, the people of the heavenly palace have been killed? Lu Ming's expression became heavier. If that was the case, the heavenly palace would be in danger this time. No, there are still many survivors in the heavenly palace. It's all thanks to a demon from the world turtle. That demon has a strong cultivation base and is also very strong in rune formations. Although he's not as good as Dandan, he's not much worse. During this time, it's all thanks to the formation of this demon from the world turtle that the survivors in the heavenly palace were able to survive and escape the pursuit of the demons. The illusion formation was also set up by the demon from the world turtle so that the people in the heavenly palace could avoid the demon's pursuit. Lu Ming understood that the illusion array in the forest previously was set up by the demon of the world's divine turtle. Now, the survivors in the heavenly palace were hiding in a formation set up by the demon from the world turtle to avoid the demon's pursuit. However, the situation was very critical because this temporary planet was only so big. Sooner or later, they would be found. At that time, no one would be able to contend against the strongest demon prodigy. The heavenly palace would also be defeated. Now, more than half of the temporary planet is controlled by these demons. There are demons everywhere chasing after the people of the heavenly palace. It's very dangerous. Let's go back to the heavenly palace's place of residence first, Ling Yuwei said. Lu Ming nodded and did not object. Now, more than half of the temporary planet had been swept away by the demons. There were almost no people from the heavenly palace. It was very dangerous for him to barge in alone. This was because, on the demon's side, other than the strongest demon, there was more than one demon at the level of Luoshi. The two of them left this place, restrained their auras, and carefully headed in a direction. During this time, they met a team of demons. This team of demons did not have any terrifying prodigies, but the two of them did not make a move. Who knew if there were any terrifying demons like Luoshi nearby? If they made a move and attracted such demons, it would be troublesome. Even if the two of them joined forces, they would not be able to defeat an existence like Luoshi. After bypassing the team of demons, about 2 hours later, Lu Ming and company arrived at an ordinary rocky area. This area looked no different from other areas. There were messy rocks everywhere, and there was not a single living being. This is it. This place is covered by a large illusion array. It looks ordinary, but in fact, the survivors of the heavenly palace are all inside. After Ling Yuwei finished speaking, she took out 2 jade tokens and handed one to Lu Ming. Then, the two of them flew forward. The jade tokens in their hands glowed with a ray of multicolored light and resonated with the array formation. In the next moment, ripples appeared in the void, and the two of them disappeared from their original spot. If one did not have that kind of jade token, one would not be able to enter the illusion array here. Even if one flew past this area, they would not be able to enter the illusion array. It had to be said that this illusion array was very mysterious. As soon as they entered the illusion array, the scene before them changed. Lu Ming swept his gaze across and saw many figures. This place was filled with protruding rocks. On the rocks, in twos and threes, they were all the prodigies of the heavenly palace. About 500 people. Lu Ming's heart sank. According to Ling Yue, more than half of the heavenly palace's prodigies on the temporary planet were gathered here. On the heavenly palace's side, there were a total of 3,000 people participating in the battle. On average, there were about 1,500 people on more than half of the temporary planet. But now, there were only 500 people. Chapter 4085. Out of 1,500 people, only 500 or so were left. In other words, over 1,000 geniuses from the heavenly palace had died at the hands of the demons. This was a huge loss, and it was very unfavorable for the heavenly palace in the following battle. The arrival of Lu Ming and Ling Yue immediately attracted the attention of many people. That seems to be Mu Yun. That's right, it said that he's Ling Yue's fiancé. I didn't expect Ling Yue to bring him along when she went out this time. I thought he died at the hands of the demons. I heard that Mu Yun's battle strength is extremely strong. I wonder if he can help us. No matter how strong he is, can he be stronger than that demon? Many people sighed, and some people had despair in their eyes. At this moment, a voice rang out, and a figure flew over. It was the battle god Yuan Wen. Brother battle god. Lu Ming greeted him with a smile. After not seeing him for a while, the battle god Yuan Wen's cultivation had also improved greatly. He had actually reached the peak of the third divine emperor realm. It seemed that he had also gained a lot in the fortune tower. With the battle god Yuan Wen's battle strength, his cultivation was at the third divine emperor realm, and he was able to match the eighth divine emperor realm and even defeat the other party. The two of them could be said to have gotten to know each other after a fight, and there was a sense of appreciation for each other. Brother Mu, your cultivation is one level higher than mine, and you're in front of me again. I originally wanted to spar with you, but it seems that I can only do it next time. The battle god Yuan Wen smiled, his eyes burning with a strong fighting spirit. Although he was in a dangerous situation, he was still not discouraged, and had a strong fighting spirit and fighting spirit. Suddenly, Lu Ming looked ahead. Swish, swish, swish. In the void in front of him, there were a few light figures, constantly flickering, and at the same time, runes filled the air. Those light figures were clearly a few figures. With Lu Ming's eyesight, he naturally saw very clearly that there were 3 figures, and Lu Ming felt that each of these 3 figures was extremely strong. It gave off a feeling that it was not weaker than the Luo Shi. One of them is from the Angel Clan, one is from the Demon Clan, and one is from the World Godly Turtle. They're all candidates for the universe's Young Geniuses list, and they all have the strength of the 6th Godly Emperor layer. They're the 3 strongest people left in the Heavenly Palace. They're not weaker than Luo Shi. Recently, they've been practicing a joint attack technique. They hope to be able to contend against the strongest genius of the demons. Ling Yue explained. Can a joint attack really contend against the strongest prodigy of the fiends? Lu Ming expressed his doubts. These 3 people's abilities were similar to Luo Shi's, and they were all candidates for the Universe Genius list. They should be geniuses who could fight across 4 levels. However, the strongest prodigy of the demons was able to fight across 5 levels. If their cultivation levels were the same, their combat prowess would differ by an entire level. Even if the 3 of them joined forces, it was impossible to fight across a level. There's no other way. This time, those who participate in the battle are all people under 50,000 years old. The highest cultivation level is only the 6th Godly Emperor layer. They're almost the highest among the participants this time. Other than them, The others can't compete with the strongest genius of the fiends. And according to Dong Yuanqing, once he's proficient in his joint attack technique, the three of them can still fight against the fiends for a few dozen moves. In this way, the others can take the opportunity to escape. It's better than being completely crushed. Ling Yuwei explained. Dong Yuanqing was the name of the world godly turtle monster. If the three of them join forces to deal with the strongest genius of the fiends, then who will deal with the other geniuses of the fiends, such as the Luosher? Lu Ming immediately thought of this question. The faces of the battle god and Yuanwen immediately darkened. There's no other way. The battle god shook his head. Of course, they had thought of this question. But what could they do about it? The strongest genius of the fiends was too strong. On the side of the heavenly palace, no one could fight against him alone. They could only gather more people to barely fight against him. But the fiends were a level lower, so no one could deal with them. On the side of the heavenly palace, it was extremely difficult. Damn it, unfortunately, my cultivation level is too low. If I had the cultivation level of the 6th godly emperor layer, I wouldn't have let that fiends run wild. The battle god gnashed his teeth. At the same level, he didn't fear the strongest genius of the fiends. Unfortunately, his cultivation level was too low. He was 3 levels lower than his opponent. At the same time, he looked at Lu Ming. He knew Lu Ming's fighting strength. At the same level, Lu Ming wasn't weaker than him. Unfortunately, Lu Ming's cultivation level wasn't enough. On the side of the heavenly palace, the two of them could fight across 5 levels if they were at the same level. Unfortunately, their cultivation levels were too low. They couldn't reverse the situation. While they were chatting, the 3 top geniuses in the sky stopped and gathered together to discuss something. Then, they continued to practice their joint attack technique. As they practiced, a tortoise shell floated in the air. It was filled with an ancient aura. At this time, Dong Yuanqing and the other 2 stopped practicing again. This time, they smiled with satisfaction. It seemed that they had made good progress. Then, the 3 of them landed on 3 cliffs and sat down to meditate. Lu Ming and the others continued to chat. In the process of chatting, Lu Ming's body was still recovering on its own. He was getting closer to his peak state. About 2 hours later, at this time, a young man in a white robe landed beside the angel race's candidate on the universe genius list and whispered a few words. Shua. The angel race candidate on the universe prodigy list looked in Lu Ming's direction with a sharp gaze. His gaze was like lightning. Lu Ming sensed it instantly. Lu Ming's gaze also looked in that direction. Bu Nan. Ling Yue's expression changed slightly. This Bu Nan was the name of the angel race's candidate on the universe genius list. He was also one of the people who had practiced the joint attack technique with Dong Yuanqing. He was a 6th level godly emperor. Shua. Bu Nan stood up, took a step in the air, and appeared above Lu Ming and the others. He looked down at Lu Ming and the others with a cold aura. He didn't hide his hostility at all. Many people's gazes turned to look at him. I heard that Mu Yun once challenged Gabbert and made a 1,000-year promise. He has a grudge with the angel race. Many of them want to teach Mu Yun a lesson and curry favor with Gabbert. Bu Nan is going to make a move too? Is he also going to curry favor with Gabbert? Many people were discussing. Mu Yun, I didn't expect you to live until now. Very good, you can fulfill one of my wishes. Bu Nan said coldly. What does your wish have to do with me? Lu Ming said indifferently, his expression still calm. I once owed Gabbert a favor. This favor must be returned. Now, kneel down and apologize to Gabbert in public. Then, slap yourself 30 times. I will record it with the dream godly jade and send it to Gabbert. It can be considered returning the favor. Bu Nan's voice was cold and unquestionable. Chapter 4086. Brennan's tone was indisputable. His body was covered in holy light, and his eyes were as sharp as swords as he stared at Lu Ming. Ha! Lu Ming sneered. These angels were always acting all high and mighty, as if they were going to eat him up. Lafitte and the others were like that previously. Now they were already dead souls under his hands. And now, it was the same with Brennan's behavior. Did he really think that he was very powerful? Lu Ming couldn't be bothered with him. There must be something wrong with your brain. Lu Ming curled his lips. Very well, I knew that you wouldn't give in so easily. Then, I'll beat you until you give in. Brennan said coldly. His voice was even colder. Before he finished speaking, a pure white light emitted from Brennan's glabella. A cross of holy light flew out from his glabella. After the cross of holy light left Brennan's glabella, it quickly expanded and pressed down on Lu Ming like a mountain. He attacked as he pleased. It was very domineering. Angels. Lu Ming's eyes were cold. These angels were really persistent. They seized the opportunity to deal with him. And this was after he challenged Gabbert. It could be considered as offending Gabbert. If the angels knew that Lafitte and dozens of other prodigies died in his hands, he wondered how they would react. They would probably go crazy. Lu Ming's body dashed upward and he threw a punch out. Boom! The punch landed in the middle of the cross of holy light, and an earth-shattering explosion erupted. The cross of holy light exploded and turned into light spots that dissipated in the air. Lu Ming's body trembled, and he took 3 consecutive steps back. Brennan grunted softly. He raised his eyebrows, looking a little surprised that Lu Ming could block his attack. You have some strength. No wonder you're so arrogant. But you're still far from being arrogant in front of me. Brennan's voice became even colder. The holy light on his body became even more intense. Pairs of angel wings stretched out from his back. There were a total of 6 pairs, 11 angel wings. This was a 12-winged angel. Among the angels, they were extremely rare 12-winged angels. The battle prowess and talent of the angels could be deduced from the number of wings they had. 8-winged angels could fight opponents 2 levels higher than them in the Divine Emperor realm. In the Divine Emperor realm, a 10-winged angel could fight someone who was 3 levels higher. A 12-winged angel, on the other hand, could fight someone who was 4 levels above them. In other words, as long as it was a 12-winged angel, it would be one of the candidates for the Universe Prodigy list. In the future, it would have a chance to enter the Universe Prodigy list. The 12 wings were as white as snow. Holy light soared into the sky. Bu Nan's aura rose to the peak. A terrifying pressure pressed down on Lu Ming. If you don't kneel, then I'll beat you until you kneel. Bu Nan said coldly. He raised his hand, and the vast holy light once again turned into a cross-shaped holy light, pressing down on Lu Ming. This time, the cross-shaped holy light was much stronger than the previous one. The vast pressure rushed toward Lu Ming like a tide. Lu Ming's face was gloomy. All the cells in his body trembled. He activated all his secret techniques, and his body emitted a dazzling glow. Break it! Lu Ming let out a long howl and threw a punch. Lu Ming used all his strength in this punch, pushing his battle prowess to the peak. Boom! The 2 terrifying forces collided, causing the sky and earth to tremble violently. Fortunately, there was a formation guarding this place. Otherwise, it would have caused a terrifying commotion. However, many people's faces changed. They were afraid that the formation would be broken by the aftermath of the battle and attract the demons. In addition, many people were even more shocked by Lu Ming's battle prowess. Many people's eyes were filled with disbelief. Lu Ming dared to confront Bu Nan head-on, and he could release such terrifying waves of energy. This meant that Lu Ming's battle prowess was also very shocking. He wouldn't be crushed one-sidedly. He could hold his own for a short while. A figure retreated rapidly. It was Lu Ming. He smashed a big pit in the ground. His face was a little pale, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Bu Nan's battle prowess was not weaker than the demon prodigy Luo Shi. Although Lu Ming blocked it, he was still injured. However, everyone was even more shocked. Lu Ming withstood Bu Nan's attack and only suffered minor injuries. His battle prowess was far beyond everyone's imagination. Among the geniuses of the Heavenly Palace, he was definitely one of the top fighters. Bu Nan frowned, and a murderous intent flashed in his eyes. He had used all his strength, but he couldn't make Lu Ming kneel. He only made Lu Ming suffer some minor injuries. This made him very dissatisfied. He was a 12-winged angel of the Angel Clan. What kind of status did he have? You're courting death. A cold voice came out. Bu Nan attacked again. This time, a pure white feather flew out from his body and turned into a holy light sword. The sword light rushed into the sky and slashed violently at Lu Ming. The power of this attack was even more shocking. Swish! At this moment, an arrow shot out. Its speed was extremely fast, as if it had pierced through the void. In a flash, it hit the holy light sword. Boom! An earth-shattering explosion rang out. The arrow exploded, but the holy light sword also trembled violently, and its light dimmed a lot. At the same time, Lu Ming soared into the sky and attacked with all his strength. Another boom rang out. Lu Ming's body flew back and smashed into the ground. However, the holy light sword also exploded. Ling Yue, you want to interfere too? Bu Nan's expression became even more gloomy. He coldly looked at Ling Yue. What do you think? Ling Yue drew her battle bow, and an arrow continued to condense, aiming at Bu Nan. At the same time, Lu Ming's body was enveloped in a dazzling light, and his battle-intent soared. Swish! A halberd also condensed in the battle god Yuanwen's hand. The halberd was pointed at Bu Nan, and the meaning was self-evident. Their figures flickered, and a few geniuses of the Battle Saint tribe also came to the side of the battle god Yuanwen, staring at Bu Nan. Battle Saint tribe, you guys also want to make a move? Good, very good. Then let's deal with all of you in one go. Bu Nan coldly spoke, his killing intent as sharp as a blade. His aura grew even stronger. Numerous cross-shaped divine swords floated in the air, and there were a total of 12 of them. Hold on, Bu Nan. With a light shout, an honest-looking young man stepped through the air. This young man was none other than the genius of the world turtle race, Dong Yuanqing. Right now, our common enemy is the devil. The devil hasn't arrived yet, so we can't kill each other and damage our strength. Dong Yuanqing said, killing a few trash won't affect our strength. Don't worry. Bu Nan said, oh, let's give it a try then. Lu Ming coldly laughed. Courting death. Bu Nan's eyes turned cold, and his sword Qi soared into the sky. Hold on. A figure appeared before Bu Nan. It was the peak demon-level genius of the devil race. Chapter 4087. The top genius of the demon clan, one of the candidates of the universe young geniuses list, stood in front of Bu Nan, preventing him from making a move. You can't make a move. If you cause too much of a commotion and break through the restrictions of the formation and attract demons, we'll all die. If you want to die, don't drag us down with you, said the genius of the demon clan coldly. His entire body was covered by demon qi. Obviously, he wanted to stop Bu Nan from making a move. He didn't want to help Lu Ming. However, if Lu Ming and Bu Nan fought, it might lead to very bad consequences. First, Lu Ming and Ling Yue's fighting strength was astonishing. In the Heavenly Palace, they were definitely the top fighting strength. If they died in Bu Nan's hands, it would undoubtedly weaken the fighting strength of the Heavenly Palace. Second, their fighting strength was too strong. Bu Nan couldn't kill them instantly. If he couldn't kill them instantly, the battle between the two sides would be very intense. If the fluctuations broke through the restrictions of the formation and attracted demons, they would all be in danger. Because of these 2 days, the genius of the demon clan had made a move to stop them. Dong Yuanqing also had the same idea. Bu Nan's face was gloomy. However, with the intervention of the genius of the demon clan and Dong Yuanqing, he definitely couldn't touch Lu Ming. Besides, how could he not know the 2 points from before? He was also very afraid. When he made a move before, he didn't expect Lu Ming to be so difficult to deal with. Later, he couldn't pull his face down, so he forced himself to make a move. Now that there was a way out, he naturally had to follow the way out. Mu Yun, this time, for the sake of Brother Dong Yuanqing and Brother and I'll spare you for the time being. After this battle with the demons, I'll make you pay the price, said Bu Nan coldly. Ha! Lu Ming smiled disdainfully. Bu Nan thought that he was very strong. At most, his cultivation level was higher than his by 2 levels. Now, Lu Ming's cultivation level was close to the 5th godly emperor layer. He believed that it wouldn't be long before he broke through to the fifth godly emperor layer. Once Lu Ming broke through to the fifth godly emperor layer, their fighting strength would be completely reversed. At that time, who would have to pay the price? Seeing Lu Ming's disdainful smile, Bu Nan's eyes flashed with murderous intent as his chest heaved up and down. He really wished he could immediately make a move and kill Lu Ming in one move. Unfortunately, he couldn't do it. With a gloomy face, Bu Nan turned around and left, returning to the rock to rest. The demon prodigy was expressionless as he stepped into the air and left. As for Dong Yuanqing, he gave Lu Ming a kind smile and turned to leave. Mu Yun's strength has actually reached this level. Even Bu Nan can't do anything to him. That's right, I remember that when the matter between him and Ling Yue was in an uproar, his cultivation was only at the Divine Lord realm, and he could only compete with those quasi-emperors. So quickly, his strength is already able to show off in the Divine Emperor realm. This is absolutely astonishing. I didn't pay much attention to him back then, thinking that he could only show off his might in the Divine Lord realm. I didn't expect that his strength would surpass mine so quickly. Many people were secretly discussing and marveling at Lu Ming's strength. The main reason was that Lu Ming's rise was too short. Back then, the matter between Lu Ming and Ling Yue had caused an uproar. Many quasi-emperor level prodigies had gone to the Iron Sea Star Field Group to challenge Lu Ming, attracting the attention of many people. But how long had it been since that time? Lu Ming had grown to this extent. It was truly astonishing. At the same time, they thought of Ling Yue. Ling Yue's speed of improvement was similarly astonishing. If they continued to grow at this speed, there was a high chance that they would truly step into the universe prodigy list in the future. Hearing everyone's discussion, Bu Nan felt even more unhappy. It was as if he was the one who set off Lu Ming. Lu Ming used him as a stepping stone to boost his reputation. Bu Nan, adjust your mentality. We still have to cultivate the joint attack technique later. This is related to our own lives. As long as we defeat the demon, after we leave, wouldn't that Mu Yun be at your mercy? The demon prodigy sent a voice transmission to Bu Nan. Bu Nan took a deep breath and slowly calmed himself down. After a period of time, Dong Yuanqing, Bu Nan, and the demon prodigy continued to practice the joint attack technique. The joint attack technique was very mysterious. It was a secret technique of the world's divine turtle race. It wasn't easy to cultivate and required constant practice to familiarize oneself with it. In the blink of an eye, it had already been 3 days since Lu Ming arrived. In these 3 days, the Heavenly Palace would constantly send people out to investigate the situation outside. However, many people were sent out and few returned. Obviously, it was very dangerous to go out and investigate. Those who went out to investigate were mostly doomed. Especially on the 3rd day, not a single one of the 8 people sent out returned. This made everyone's hearts very heavy. They had a bad premonition, as if a storm was about to come. The heavy pressure made it difficult for everyone to breathe. Rumble. Suddenly, heaven and earth shook violently. It was as if the entire world was shaking violently. The sky was shaking, and the earth was rumbling. Everyone's expression changed drastically. What's going on? Could it be that the demon found this place? Exclamations sounded one after another. Crack. Suddenly, the sound of porcelain shattering could be heard in the sky. Then, a crack suddenly appeared in the sky. As soon as the crack appeared, it quickly expanded. Swoosh, swoosh. Figures began to emerge from the cracks. Demons. All of them were demons. There were at least 1,000 of them densely packed together. The demons are here. That's Eugene, the demon prodigy Eugene. Someone exclaimed with a pale face. The leader of the demons was very eye-catching. This was because this demon looked very similar to a human. He was burly and wore red battle armor. He had a head of fiery red hair that fluttered in the wind like a dancing flame. He held a demonic saber in his hand. This demonic saber was different from the other demonic sabers. It was fiery red and had demonic flames dancing on it. Eugene. Lu Ming had heard this name more than once during this period of time. Because of Eugene, the balance between the demons and the Heavenly Palace had been broken. The demons had gained the upper hand. He was the strongest genius of the demons who had participated in this battle. He had the strength of the 6th godly emperor layer. He was a peerless genius who could fight against cultivators who were 5 cultivation levels higher than him. The heavenly palace was in a state of chaos. Kill all the bastards of the heavenly palace. Victory will be ours. Eugene waved his demonic saber. Kill all the bastards of the heavenly palace. Die! Shouted the other demons. They moved like lightning and threw themselves at the people of the heavenly palace. His speed was extremely fast. Before his figure had even reached them, a series of terrifying attacks had already rolled towards the people of the heavenly palace in an overwhelming manner. Fight them to the death! Fight to the death! Shouted the battle god, Yuan 1, and the others of the battle saint tribe. The other people of the heavenly palace also attacked the demons with their full strength. Chapter 4088. The people of the heavenly palace had no choice but to fight back. They couldn't just sit there and wait for death. Boom boom boom. The attacks from both sides collided in the air. Terrifying shockwaves swept out in all directions, tearing the earth and the void apart. The formation that covered the area was also torn to pieces by the violent shockwaves. After a wave of attacks, the two sides collided. Instantly, horrible shrieks filled the air. Many people had already died when they collided. Without a doubt, the people of the heavenly palace were at a complete disadvantage. As soon as the battle started, Eugene looked at Dong Yuan, Qing Bu Nan and the others. Dong Yuan Qing and the other two began to execute a mystical footwork. Their figures flickered continuously, forming a mystical trajectory, as if they were executing a joint attack. Swoosh! A beam of godly light shot out from between them and killed 2 of the young geniuses. A cultivator of the 6th godly emperor layer, who could fight cultivators 4 levels higher than him, coughed up blood and was blown away. Joint attack? Interesting. Eugene revealed a look of curiosity as he stepped forward. His violent aura was like an erupting volcano. Nobody dared get close to Eugene, including the demons. Move aside and deal with the others. I'll deal with those 3, said Eugene coldly. He then moved towards Dong Yuan Qing and the others. Swoosh! The demonic saber in his hand rapidly grew in size as he slashed out at Dong Yuan Qing and the other 2 with a shocking might. How terrifying! Ordinary cultivators of the 9th godly emperor layer couldn't withstand a single attack from him. They would all be killed instantly. He was relying on his own strength, he wasn't using a powerful weapon. The demon blade in Eugene's hand was condensed from his demon chi. It's Eugene! Stop him! Shouted Dong Yuan Qing. The 3 geniuses used their full strength to launch a joint attack. Dazzling godly lights filled the air and an ancient turtle shell appeared in the sky. Boom! The fiery red demonic saber struck the ancient tortoise shell, causing it to vibrate violently. Gotcha! The tortoise shell continued to vibrate, and in the end, it emitted a cracking sound. It was covered with numerous cracks, and in the end, it exploded with a bang. However, that demonic saber was also blocked. Dong Yuan Qing and the other 2 were overjoyed. They had managed to block Eugene's attack. It's effective. The combined attack can block his attack. Great. Dong Yuan Qing and the other 2 heaved a sigh of relief. Before the battle with Eugene, they were not confident at all. Now, he finally had some confidence. Retreat. Everyone, retreat to the eastern valley. We'll bring up the rear. Then, Donji Wonking roared. Retreat. Let's go. The people from the heavenly palace shouted and wanted to retreat to the east. However, how could the demons allow them to retreat? Don't let any of them go. They're all delicious. I swallowed 2 raw a few days ago. It was so delicious. The numerous abyssal geniuses roared as they charged forward with unstoppable momentum. In particular, there were a few demons who were simply too strong. They were on the same level as Dong Yuan Qing and Bu Nan. Among them, Luo Shi, who had fought with Lu Ming previously, was among them. These demons were unstoppable. No one could defeat them. A genius from the heavenly palace had his head crushed by Luo Shi's claw. Red and white matter splattered everywhere. Then, he took a step forward and crushed a genius from the heavenly palace. His eyes were ferocious as he glanced around. Then, his gaze fell on Lu Ming. "Boy, you ran away last time. Let's see where you can run this time." Luo Shi roared. He was very excited and his burly body rushed towards Lu Ming. Bang! Lu Ming threw a punch and a genius of the fourth godly emperor layer was smashed to pieces. He died on the spot. "You came at the right time. Let's fight again." Lu Ming's eyes were like lightning. He was fearless as he rushed towards Luo Shi. The two of them were like two meteorites as they collided with each other. Boom! There was an earth-shattering explosion and Lu Ming was pushed back. However, Luo Shi's attack was also blocked. Mu Yun is attacking. He's going to fight Luo Shi. Let's retreat. When the geniuses from the heavenly palace saw that Lu Ming had blocked Luo Shi, they were overjoyed. They looked at Lu Ming gratefully and then ran towards the east. "Die!" shouted Luo Shi furiously. His eyes were filled with murder as he threw himself at Lu Ming. His gigantic demon claws were as big as a small mountain. Lu Ming let out a long howl. His entire body was shrouded in dazzling rays of light. He pushed his combat ability to the peak as he fought with the Luo corpse. Lu Ming didn't fight against Luo Shi because he wanted to save other people. He wanted to use Luo Shi's strength to stimulate his potential and break through to the fifth godly emperor layer as soon as possible. The Heavenly Palace's situation was becoming more and more dangerous. They couldn't defeat the demons. If things went on like this, the Heavenly Palace would really be defeated in this confrontation. If the lips died, the teeth would be cold. If the Heavenly Palace was defeated, he would also be in danger. He had a strong sense of crisis. He had to break through quickly. Only by breaking through to the fifth godly emperor layer could he protect himself. Otherwise, it would be very dangerous. He wanted to use Luo Shi's strength to break through to the fifth godly emperor layer as soon as possible. Lu Ming and Luo Shi had an intense battle. The two of them fought fiercely. It was very tragic. Just like last time, Lu Ming was still not a match for him. He was completely suppressed. After a dozen moves, his hands were covered in blood and flesh. Not far away, Ling Yuwei looked worried. She wanted to draw her bow and help Lu Ming. "Don't worry about me. Let me do it myself." Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Ling Yuwei. His eyes were filled with determination as he continued to fight Luo Shi. As for Ling Yuwei, she could only draw her bow and shoot at another terrifying demon genius, blocking that person. "You're courting death." The other demon genius was at the same level as Luo Shi. He stared at Ling Yuwei and attacked her. However, Ling Yuwei quickly retreated, not allowing her opponent to get close. She continued to draw her bow and shoot. Ling Yuwei was a long-range attacker. Only by distancing herself would she be able to unleash her strongest power. Furthermore, her speed was very fast. That demon wouldn't be able to catch up to her in a short period of time. Just like that, this powerful demon was restrained by Ling Yuwei for a short period of time. This way, the pressure on the Heavenly Palace's side was slightly reduced, allowing more people to rush towards the east. In the east, there was a canyon. Dong Yuanqing had already set up a formation there. It could be considered a formation within a formation, used to escape and move. Even so, the battle was still incomparably tragic. On the side of the Heavenly Palace, people were constantly falling. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming had already endured dozens of attacks from Luo Shi. His injuries were very serious. His entire body was tattered, his bones were broken, and his flesh and blood were flying everywhere. It was a tragic sight. In the sky, the most important battle was the battle between Dong Yuanqing and the other two and Eugene. At this moment, the four of them had also exchanged dozens of blows. At this time, Dong Yuanqing and the other two were no longer a match for them and were retreating step by step. Chapter 4089. Dong Yuanqing and the other two had exchanged dozens of blows with Eugene. This was already their limit, and they were only able to achieve this result by relying on their joint attack technique. Otherwise, they would have been crushed like rotten wood. Even so, they were still forced to retreat. Fortunately, Almost all of the remaining people from the heavenly palace had rushed into the valley. Let's retreat too. Dong Yuanqing sent a sound transmission to Bu Nan and the others. Boom. They condensed another turtle shell and blocked Eugene's saber strike. The turtle shell shattered and the violent saber chi rushed towards them. Their bodies trembled and their faces turned pale. However, with the help of this force, they retreated rapidly and rushed towards the eastern valley. You want to leave? Leave all of them behind. Eugene shouted coldly as the saber light slashed out once again. Mu Yun, retreat. At the side, Ling Yue shouted and shot an arrow. This arrow was shot towards the Luo corpse. As for Lu Ming, while the Luo corpse was blocking Ling Yue's arrow, he explosively retreated and also rushed towards the eastern valley. In fact, he was very close to the eastern valley. During the battle with the Luo corpse, Lu Ming had intentionally or unintentionally approached the eastern valley. The reason he fought with the Luo corpse was to stimulate his potential so that he could break through. He wasn't courting death, so he would naturally leave a way out for himself. As for Ling Yue, she had been swimming the entire time and was even closer to the eastern valley. Therefore, Lu Ming and Ling Yue moved and rushed into the valley. As soon as they rushed into the valley, the environment of the world suddenly changed, completely changing its appearance. This was an illusion array. Even if the demons followed them in, they wouldn't be able to find any traces of them. Following that, the jade talisman on their bodies lit up, and Lu Ming felt a wave of energy envelop his entire body. Lu Ming did not resist and allowed the force to pull him. In the next moment, his figure disappeared from where he stood. Then, Lu Ming found himself underground. Array within array. There was an escape array within the illusion array that allowed them to enter the ground. Underground, there was a passage that led to the front. Ling Yue was right beside him. In addition, there were other people from the heavenly palace. Go, let's go. Someone from the heavenly palace shouted. Then, they followed the passage and rushed forward. At the end of the passage, another matrix appeared. They stepped into the formation and left in a flash. In the next moment, they appeared on the ground, but they were already far away from the area they were in. There was more than one hiding place in the heavenly palace. Previously, Dong Yuanqing had set up formations in different places in the area as hiding spots. They had just moved to another hiding place. People kept appearing beside them. However, Dong Yuanqing and the other two were nowhere to be seen. Everyone's heart skipped a beat. Dong Yuanqing and the other two were the strongest among them, so they could not fight. If they did, the heavenly palace would be finished in this battle. Fortunately, not long after, there was a flash of space and 3 figures appeared. These 3 people were none other than Dong Yuanqing, Bu Nan, and the Devil Race's prodigy. The 3 of them were pale and their auras were weak. Blood flowed out from the corners of their mouths. Clearly, they were injured. However, they survived in the end. Brother Dong Yuanqing, have you gotten rid of those devils? I wonder if the devils will chase after us? Someone asked worriedly, afraid that the devils would follow the path they took. Don't worry, the matrix behind us will automatically be destroyed. They won't be able to catch up to us. They won't be able to find us in a short period of time. Our injured friends can have a good rest. Dong Yuanqing said. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. However, when they looked around, their hearts became even heavier. Only about 300 people could make it here. Previously, there were 500 people. In other words, another 200 people from the heavenly palace had been killed by the devils in the battle just now. The heavenly palace's strength was getting weaker and weaker. If this continued, the situation would become more and more disadvantageous for them. Everyone, let's have a good rest first. Dong Yuanqing said. After saying that, he found a place, sat down cross-legged, swallowed a few divine pills, and began to heal his injuries. The others also found a place to sit down and meditate. In this battle, everyone had more or less suffered different degrees of injuries and needed to rest. Lu Ming also found a place and sat down cross-legged. He activated the forbidden power, and his injuries quickly recovered. In the battle just now, Lu Ming's injuries were very serious. They were not any weaker than the previous battle with Luo Shi. Of course, the potential that was stimulated was also very shocking. In their previous hiding place. Rumble. The ground kept shaking. A large number of devils stood in the void and raised the valley in the east to the ground. Damn it. That kid got away again. The next time I catch him, I'll skin him alive and pull out his tendons. Luo sure roared. The other devils were also unhappy. Eugene stood in the void, his eyes as cold as a knife. This temporary planet is only so big. Let's see where they can run to. Pass down the order. Search thoroughly. We must find the people from the heavenly palace. Eugene ordered. On this temporary planet, Eugene was the strongest prodigy with the strongest combat strength. The other devils naturally obeyed Eugene's orders. Thousands of devils divided into groups and searched for the people from the heavenly palace on a large scale. 2 days passed in the blink of an eye. In the new hiding place, after 2 days, most of the people's injuries were more or less healed. Lu Ming's injuries were also healed. Not only had he recovered to his peak condition, but his cultivation level had also increased. He had broken through to the top of the 4th godly emperor layer. I didn't break through. What a pity. Lu Ming was annoyed. He had wanted to take this opportunity to break through to the 5th godly emperor layer. Originally, he had a chance, but unfortunately, his cells didn't have enough potential. After breaking through to the top of the 4th godly emperor layer, it would be difficult for him to break through again. Lu Ming could only sigh speechlessly. He then took out the spirit wood heart and began to absorb it to store his potential again. Time passed. 5 days passed in the blink of an eye. During those 5 days, the devils didn't find them, which gave them a chance to rest. After those 5 days, almost everyone's injuries had healed. As for Lu Ming, he had also restored the potential in his cells to 100%. The price was that he had consumed 9,000 spiritual wood hearts. He had obtained 50,000 spiritual wood hearts from the fairy clan. There wasn't much left. Only half of them were left. My potential is full. Unfortunately, I still need one more step to break through to the 5th godly emperor layer. One more step. Lu Ming was lost in thought. Then he looked in a certain direction. He was looking in the direction of Bu Nan, the genius of the angel clan. Lu Ming's eyes glittered. Chapter 4090. Lu Ming was just a hair away from breaking through to the 5th godly emperor layer. It was just a hair's breadth away. If he cultivated step by step, it would take a long time. But if there was enough pressure, he could stimulate his potential and break through very quickly. There were no evil demons here, so he could only fight against the people of the heavenly palace. But there were only 3 people from the heavenly palace who could give him enough pressure. One was Dong Yuanqing, one was a peerless cultivator from the demon clan, and the third was Bu Nan. But Dong Yuanqing and the demon clan had no enmity with him. Even if he wanted to fight against them, they wouldn't want to kill him, so he wouldn't be able to stimulate his potential. Bu Nan was more suitable for him. Lu Ming wanted to challenge Bu Nan. He wanted to use his strength to break through to the 5th godly emperor layer. But when he glanced at Dong Yuanqing and the demon clan, he had to give up on that idea. If he really fought against Bu Nan, it would cause a huge commotion. It would probably attract the evil demons. Dong Yuanqing and the demon clan wouldn't let them fight. They would try to stop them. Lu Ming thought about it for a moment and decided to focus on cultivation. Bzzz. Suddenly, the ground started shaking. Everybody was startled. They stopped cultivating and released their divine qi. They were on guard. They thought the evil demons had arrived. But they didn't see the evil demons. They saw a beam of light. In the distance, a beam of light shot up to the sky. It passed through the deployment spell they had set up. That beam of light was black and white. It was as if a white divine dragon and a black divine dragon were entangled together, spiraling upwards. That's the place where the maps of the Good Fortune lands are hidden. The maps of the Good Fortune lands are about to appear. Someone exclaimed. On this temporary planet, the master-level existences of the Celestial Palace and the demons had each set up a land of good fortune. But they were hidden very well. Without a map, they wouldn't be able to find them. The maps of the 2 lands of good fortune were hidden in the same place. Only when the battle between the two sides reached a certain point and a certain number of people died would the maps appear. The black and white beam of light meant that the maps of the two good fortune lands were about to appear. Furthermore, it wasn't particularly far from them. Looking at the distance, it should be on the half of the planet that was close to them. Were they going to snatch the map? Everyone looked at each other and hesitated for a moment. The black and white pillars of light were so obvious. If they saw it, the demons must have seen it too. The demons would definitely go there. If they left here to seize the map, they would definitely encounter the demons. How could they be a match for the demons? If he went, wouldn't he be courting death? However, they were now at a complete disadvantage and were completely passive. They were being chased by the demons all day long. The land of fortune could be said to be their last chance. The purpose of a land of good fortune was to give the side that was behind a chance to make a comeback, filling the battle with suspense. If they did not fight for it and instead let the demons take the map and obtain the creation of the land of creation, then the strong would become stronger and the weak would become weaker. Then, the heavenly palace would have no chance at all. What awaited them was only defeat and death. Do you want to give it a shot? I think we should give it a shot. Otherwise, we'll definitely lose. The outcome is already decided. If we hide here, we'll be found sooner or later. We're just waiting for death. That's right. I think we should give it a shot too. I'd rather die in battle than wait for death here. That's right. Many people's fighting spirit was aroused and they decided to give it a shot. In the end, everyone looked at Dong Yuanqing, Bu Nan, and the monster from the demon race. The three of them were the strongest among the group. If the three of them were unwilling to go, then their chances would be slim even if they went. I think we have to give it a shot, but we can't be impulsive. What if the demons are waiting for us to take the bait? I think we should send someone out to investigate the situation before making a decision. What do you think? Dong Yuanqing said and then looked at Bu Nan and the monster from the demon race. I have no objections. I have no objections either. Bu Nan and the monster from the demon race nodded. Very well. Send someone out to investigate the demon situation now. Dong Yuanqing nodded and immediately began to select people to go out and investigate the situation. Although those who were selected were unwilling, they had no choice but to leave this place to investigate the situation. Everyone waited quietly. Not long after, someone returned. They said that there were no traces of the demons in the surrounding area. The demons should have all gone in the direction of the black and white light pillar to snatch the map. After hearing this news, everyone began to discuss again whether they should go and snatch the map. Now that things had come to this, everyone hesitated again. After all, their strength was too far away from the demons. If they went to fight with the demons for the map, it was very likely that they would be annihilated by the demons before they could obtain the map. It was a matter of life and death. Everyone began to hesitate again. Swoosh. At this moment, Lu Ming stepped into the air and exuded a powerful aura. Boom. Lu Ming blasted out a punch. A fist force penetrated the void and blasted toward Bu Nan. It happened so suddenly that everyone was stunned. They did not know why Lu Ming would suddenly attack Bu Nan. Bu Nan was also a little stunned. However, he was a peerless monster after all. His reaction was very fast. He opened his mouth and let out a long roar. A pure white sword light shot out from his mouth and slashed at Lu Ming's fist force. Boom! With a violent roar, Lu Ming's fist force was dispersed by the sword light. Kid, you're courting death. Bu Nan roared. A terrifying aura burst out. 12 wings stretched out and a terrifying holy light shot up into the sky, illuminating the sky. Do you only know how to talk? Let's see what you're capable of. Lu Ming did not stop. He raised his combat strength to the extreme. His body was covered in dazzling light. Both of his fists blasted out continuously. Streaks of terrifying fist force blasted toward Bu Nan. You're courting death. Bu Nan roared. He clenched his fist and a cross-shaped holy sword appeared. With a flap of his angelic wings, he turned into a holy light and rushed toward Lu Ming. Boom, boom, boom. The two of them clashed fiercely. All of this happened too suddenly. Many people just woke up from their daze. What's wrong with Mu Yun? Why is he suddenly fighting with Bunan? I don't know. He suddenly attacked. He must be crazy. You're courting death. This time, Bunan will definitely not let him go. Could it be that he doesn't want to die in the hands of the devil and wants to die in the hands of Bunan? However, if he dies in the hands of the devil, he will become his food. That's too miserable. Many people were discussing among themselves. They could not figure out Lu Ming's thoughts. Dong Yuanqing and the monster from the devil race were also stunned. The battle broke out too suddenly. They wanted to stop it, but it was too late. Chapter 4091. Dong Yuanqing and the demon cultivator wanted to stop him, but it was too late. Besides, they didn't have any intention of stopping him. That was because the demons were heading towards the black and white pillars of light to obtain the map. No matter how big the commotion was, it wouldn't attract the demons. In their opinion, Lu Ming was overestimating himself. He was obviously weaker than Bunan, but he still took the initiative to attack him. He was courting death. However, Lu Ming was also a strong fighter. They planned to save Lu Ming when Lu Ming was half dead. Ling Yue was in a daze at first. Lu Ming's sudden attack on Bunan was too sudden. However, after spending some time with him, he had a better understanding of Lu Ming. She knew that Lu Ming wouldn't attack Bunan for no reason. There had to be a reason. Therefore, she secretly circulated her godly strength. As long as anyone tried to stop Lu Ming, she would stop them. At the same time, when Lu Ming was in danger, she could save Lu Ming. Boom boom, Lu Ming and Bunan's battle was very intense. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged more than 10 moves. Bunan was really strong. He wasn't any weaker than Luoshi. As soon as they started fighting, Lu Ming was at a disadvantage. However, during this time, his cultivation level had risen to the top of the 4th godly emperor layer. His strength had increased a little. He was in a better situation than when he had fought Luoshi. After a dozen moves, Lu Ming retreated rapidly. He felt like every muscle in his body was shaking violently. He felt like he was being torn apart. Not enough again, shouted Lu Ming. He took the initiative to attack Bunan. Before he arrived, he had already used the Great Demon Sword technique. A dozen demon swords whistled through the air and shot towards Bunan. At the same time, Lu Ming activated the Great Divine Wind technique and the Great Shattering technique to the extreme. He continuously punched out. Streams of fist force smashed toward Bunan like meteors. Angelic sword! Bunan roared, and the holy light on his body became even more intense. More than a dozen pure white feathers flew out and transformed into 12 pure white divine swords. They pierced through the air as if they were going to split the sky in half. The 12 angelic divine swords were the first to clash with the dozen or so demonic swords, resulting in an earth-shattering explosion. The dozen or so demonic swords collapsed immediately. They only managed to resist for a single breath. Then, the angelic godly sword collided with Lu Ming's fist energy. The terrifying chi was like waves of water, rushing in all directions. It was very shocking. The surrounding people hurriedly retreated and distanced themselves from it, afraid that they would be swept up. The rocks on the ground exploded and the void was torn apart. The entire world was shaking violently. The formation covering this area was also constantly vibrating, and a strong force seeped out of the formation. If there were demons around, they would definitely be attracted by the commotion. This was also the reason why Lu Ming didn't make a move earlier. After a series of booming sounds, Lu Ming's figure retreated again. This time, Lu Ming was injured. A sword light had pierced through his chest, and a hideous wound had appeared. I can feel it, whispered Lu Ming. He could sense that his cells were trembling. His potential was unceasingly being stimulated. His injuries were quickly healing. At the same time, that potential was transforming into his cultivation. He could sense that the bottleneck of the 5th godly emperor layer was about to loosen. He could already see the 5th godly emperor layer waving at him. Just one more step. Lu Ming had the impression that he was one step away from breaking through to the 5th godly emperor layer. Bunan, is that all you've got? That's the 12-winged angel of the angel clan? You're not as good as the rumors. shouted Lu Ming. You want to die? I will cut you into 10,000 pieces, shouted Bu Nan furiously. His eyes were filled with murder. He was a 12-winged angel of the angel race. Moreover, his cultivation level was 2 levels higher than Lu Ming's. However, he could not do anything to Lu Ming even after exchanging many blows. To him, this was a great humiliation. He had already decided that no matter what, he had to kill Lu Ming. No matter who tried to stop him, it was useless. Angel King. Bu Nan let out a long howl as holy light shot into the sky. In the next moment, a huge figure emerged from his body. It was the silhouette of an angel, but it was gigantic. It had 12 angel wings, but those wings weren't white, they were golden. At the same time, it had a crown on its head. It was the silhouette of the Angel King. Boom! As soon as the silhouette of the Angel King appeared, a terrifying chi exploded like a volcano. The silhouette of the Angel King was holding an angel godly sword, and it moved towards Lu Ming. Boom boom boom. Heaven and earth exploded, and the void collapsed under the angel godly sword. Lu Ming felt a terrifying pressure pressing down on him. All the muscles in his body suddenly tensed up. Ling Yu Wei cried out in alarm, revealing a worried expression. This was because Bu Nan's move was too terrifying. Even though she was a distance away, she could still feel the astonishing power. A battle bow appeared in her hand, ready to save him at any time. Don't do it, let me do it myself. Lu Ming's voice came into Ling Yu Wei's ears. Her movements immediately stopped. Come on. Just use this move to help me break through. Lu Ming's eyes revealed an excited light. Before this move even arrived, Lu Ming already felt an extremely strong pressure. Under the strong pressure, the potential in Lu Ming's cells was constantly being stimulated. My strongest move! Lu Ming roared, and all of his strength erupted in an instant. His entire body turned into a ball of dazzling light as he soared into the sky, charging towards the sword slashed out by the Angel King's silhouette. Boom! In the next moment, the attacks of the two collided heavily. This time, it was as if two planets had collided. The terrifying strength chi swept out, and wherever it passed, the void collapsed into chaos and darkness. Retreat! Quickly retreat! The surrounding people were already far enough away, but now, they realized that they were not far enough. The terrifying strength chi quickly swept towards them, and everyone retreated once again. Look, Mu Yun can't take it anymore. Someone shouted. Everyone saw that the ball of light that Lu Ming had transformed into was violently shaking, and then with a schwa sound, it smashed towards the ground. Like a meteor, it heavily smashed into the ground. The ground shook continuously, and gravel flew everywhere. The gravel carried a wave of air that swept in all directions. How is it? Everyone stared in that direction. Soon, the gravel scattered, and a huge crater appeared on the ground. It was dark and unfathomable. Under this move of mine, Mu Yun can only die. Bu Nan said coldly. He stood in the air, and the huge shadow of the Angel King still appeared behind him. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.